So one thing I love about my Android phones is that I can actually go ahead and basically install whatever application I want to on it. And I want to talk about some of the best camera apps you can install on your Android. And to be honest, after doing my research and even from years and years of using my specific phones, I have to be honest. I really don't think there's like a massive amount of like amazing camera applications that are available for our Androids. I think there are a lot, don't get me wrong. I like, Open Camera. I think this one was good that I used for a little bit of time. I used a lot of other ones too. But to be honest, I think there's just one that I keep going to on that's available pretty much on most Android phones, but there's also some that are available on only a certain amount of Android phones. I think the stock Google camera, to be honest, is probably one of the better Google is probably one of the better camera applications that are available on a majority of phones. If you get the Gcam application, you can install it yourself via the APK file, and it is honestly quite refreshing. It's honestly a really decent camera. Now, I don't think it's better necessarily than the One UI camera, which we'll get into in a second, but this is a pretty decent option. Now, starting off, it's a pretty good camera. It's pretty basic, so you can zoom in basically however much you want to. It is sometimes weird because, as you can see, I should be able to zoom in a lot more than however much I'm zooming in now, but there we go. Then it starts kind of fixing up a little bit. You have camera mode, you have portrait mode depending on the hardware of your phone. You have motion, you have night sight. Again, depends on the hardware of your device, but you do have a lot of features built in straight from this type of application, which is honestly pretty good. Now, another thing that this camera does have is actually the ability of shooting in basically whatever type of raw video format that you want to film in. So if I go and click down here, you can see I have a couple of more options that I can kind of see. But if I go and actually click on more settings, you can see that I have a lot more settings I can choose from, more than just what what it originally type of showed me. So you can see I have a lot of the other options down here. I would probably recommend turning off audio zoom, but you have video stabilization, you have lots and lots of different features built in on our Pixel 7 Pro, but even on another Android phone that you may have. If you install it via the APK file, you can get a lot of these features, not all of them, but you can get lots and lots of these features built in straight into your phone, which is really cool. And the best thing about it is that it's pretty lightweight. It's not super clunky, although it can be kind of annoying for some people. It isn't really the most complicated camera to use, which is really cool. You also have a RAW mode built into this specific phone as well. So within this application, if you want to just go ahead and use your if you want to basically film or record or take photos in RAW mode, you have that type of capability here too, which is really cool. And if I make my way over to my video option right here, if I go and click on this little drop down, you can see again we have a lot more options that come up. You can turn on or off flash. Obviously, you can change your resolutions depending on what your phone supports. You can turn on HDR if you really want to. You can turn on lots and lots of other things here too, which is honestly very cool. Now, that is that for an application that is available pretty much on most phones. But unfortunately, probably one of my favorite cameras out there right now is probably the one on One UI. I think One UI, that camera is very, very good, and I've always liked Samsung for having that type of camera quality on their device. I have my Samsung Galaxy S23 here, and this camera has been phenomenal. I like this camera a lot, and that is something that I really do like when it comes down to something like the Galaxy S23. I really do feel like Samsung knocks it out of the park with One UI. With the features, not in terms of like stability or anything, but I feel like the features are great. But the One UI camera really isn't available on all Android phones. So that's just the one thing that it kind of comes down to, that I wish this was available on all Android phones. Unfortunately, it is not. So there's not really too much we can do there either. But with One UI, that camera is very solid, and I'm a very, very big fan of the camera app within the One UI camera. Unfortunately, it's not really available on most Android phones. So those are pretty much my favorite camera apps as of right now. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video.